Broadcast of the 2009 Lincoln Day Dinner is made possible by the Capital City Republicans. This year's guest is Michael Medved.
And now I'm not kidding. Turn your cell phones off, or at least on silent, because we don't want anything to go awry in this next stage of the program. And I've taken up too much of your time. So again, thank you for being here tonight. The Capital City really wants to be as good a capital city as we possibly can. And as true as that is for all the folks who live here, it's even truer for the Republicans who live here. And it's not easy. So you help us in doing that by being here tonight. So thank you all for that. I really mean that. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing a wonderfully unique person. You know, there are certain names that are just not first names, last names. You just know who they are, like Jackie or Diana. And I think a new name has certainly joined that lexicon in the past 6 months. And I think we all know who that is. She is someone I've known for many years. I come from the same part of the state as her. She has always impressed me with her acumen, her energy, her drive, and her adaptability. And we've all seen that in the past, again, recent less than half a year. And since our governor ascended to the national stage, people both within Alaska and without have asked me, has she changed? And I've only had the chance to visit with her a couple times since all these momentous things have happened. But I got to thinking, and I thought, well, I think the answer is yes. As far as I can tell, there has been change. But then I thought about one of the main themes of the campaign: good change and change that's not so good. And whatever change I've seen in our governor has been extremely good and extremely tracked on its trajectory toward greater and greater success, and honing her leadership skills and becoming more and more of a person who's going to make a beneficial and positive influence, I think, in our lives as Alaskans and our lives as Americans. And so without babbling on anymore, ladies and gentlemen, let me please introduce the person I'm proud to call my friend and the Governor of Alaska, the Honorable Sarah Palin.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Benjamin. I see it's on the program, but I know him as Ben, as just little Ben from the Valley so many years ago. Thank you so much, and he's always so kind and gracious and welcoming, as you all are, and I'm just very honored to get to be here. Thank you so much, Capital City Republicans, for hosting this wonderful event tonight. So special to get to be celebrating Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday, especially in the midst of this group, especially with a celebrity in our midst, Michael Medved. It's going to be so great to hear from him. President Lincoln, I believe, is our country's most revered president. His values, his vision, his resolve provided the cornerstone for the major political party that really makes sense for America today, because what he believed in, his principles, all was founded on the principles of equality and respect for innocent life and reward for strong work ethic and expectation that every able-bodied individual will work hard and provide for themselves and their families, and then they'd be able to contribute willingly to their communities and to our country. Lincoln's legacy is most alive in our continuous search for freedom and equality and opportunity. Now, it's one thing to embrace those values, kind of spew them and talk the talk, those values of freedom and opportunity. Certainly all of us here tonight, we believe in them, but it takes such a special talent and a passion to communicate those values effectively and convincingly to all of America. And we have someone in our midst who is able to do that. Tonight's keynote speaker, he's one of the country's most outstanding communicators, and it's an honor for me to get to be up here to welcome him to this podium and introduce him to you tonight. He was born in Philadelphia, educated in California public schools. Michael Medved began his undergrad studies at Yale at the age of 16. I remember what I was doing at 16, and I wasn't at Yale. His college classmates included an alarming number of future politicians, including Senator John Kerry, George Pataki of New York, governor of course, Governor Tony Noel, and President George W. Bush. Michael was graduated in '69 with honors in U.S. history. Then he went to Yale Law. His classmates included Clarence Thomas and Bill and Hillary, and two of his best buddies were Lanny Davis and Greg Craig. And remember, they both played crucial roles in President Clinton's defense in the impeachment crisis. And now Greg Craig, he is serving as White House counsel to President Obama. But now here's the good part. Michael's transformation from liberal Democrat to conservative Republican concluded in 1980 when he changed his voter registration to Republican. In his 2005 book, Right Turns, he described his dramatic transition from punk liberal activist to lovable conservative curmudgeon. National Review Online describes his book very well. All is so positive. This particular book, described as an engaging memoir and a moving tribute to America, is also a very accessible roadmap for explaining the practical reasons of old radicals, how they often become older conservatives. Michael describes himself as your cultural crusader on politics and pop culture, and he's the host of one of the most popular talk radio shows in the country. He reaches more than 4 million loyal listeners every day, and he's got about 220 stations where we can hear his voice. Common themes on his shows, it includes current events, American history, the entertainment industry, lots of politics, and it is a great show. Alaska's very lucky to get to hear him also on our airwaves. He engages his callers, and he welcomes contrary positions, and this is refreshing with talk shows, especially today. He welcomes different positions. He doesn't shout down callers, that too, so refreshing. He acknowledges the reality that people do have different perceptions and often reach different conclusions. But his knowledge of history and politics and his ability to communicate and debate his positions is unmatched. He is a man who, when he signs off every day, what he says is this declaration, America, the greatest nation on God's green earth. He has such respect for our country. He's the best-selling author of 11 books and is a member of USA Today's Board of Contributors. For more than a decade, he has served as co-host of Sneak Previews, which is PBS's movie review show. He's a frequent, and he's got to be a fearless guest on all the major talk shows like Larry King and Oprah and Letterman and Good Morning America, so many others. He lives with his family in our neighboring Seattle area, and we are very honored to have him tonight. And personally, I thank him for taking my calls on the campaign trail, and I'd go on road, making a phone call to Michael Medved. He took my call. I appreciated that. I knew that he was a friend to our cause, and I knew that through him we could get more of our conservative message out there, more of a, this pro-America, always proud to be America message. And I knew that, I knew that he would appreciate hearing from us. So, Michael, we are very honored by your multiple visits to this capital city. Thank you for taking the time to be here, especially tonight. We are in for a treat with his razor-sharp insight and enthusiasm for America. He always having been so proud to be an American. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Michael Medved.
Thank you, and what an extraordinarily gracious introduction, and what a tremendous honor and thrill to be introduced by Governor Sarah Palin. I will tell you, the last Republican event, I was telling Governor Palin about this that I spoke to, was an event with a crowd like this one, big